is it? Right gang, I'm just trying to bring it up on my computer so I can see the chat. Always just takes a couple of minutes to register I'm live. There we go. Right. How are we all? Let me just mute that. There we go. Perfecto. I'm absolutely shattered, but here we are. So, I had to decorate this cake anyway, so I thought I might as well bring you guys along. So, this is a white chocolate raspberry cake. It's going to have a plain white base and then blue smudges in different shades all around the outside. I've made a cake like this before, and I've got another one next weekend, exactly the same, but instead of blue it's green. So yeah, that's a little rundown. I've done all the cake shape bits in case anyone was wondering. I had my hair done today. I also had my band fixed. Honestly, I love Shichon so much. They did me a massive favour today. I'll give you a little story time because it was shocking. So, hello Susie, how are we? I bought the van 2 weeks after I bought it. This is the second van, so van number 2. We sold van number 1. That bad boy is gone. Then we had van number 2. She was amazing. Loved her. And then I got an AdBlue issue, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically what goes into your diesel to make it smell like roses and be good for the environment. But it causes a lot of issues for everyone that has a diesel vehicle. So the AdBlue light came on, it gave me a countdown saying that in 700 miles it wouldn't turn on, which obviously is not very good. Went back to the dealer, they basically said see you later, and that they wouldn't give me any money. So love that. And then went to a garage, it came up with a load of faults. They were like, we're not touching that. So then I had to go to Shichon, and obviously for those of you that don't own cars maybe, most people know if you go to Shichon or Fiat or Audi, it's always going to cost you way more than if you went to just like a normal garage, because they like to charge you an arm and a leg basically. So went to Shichon, they were absolute angels, but I booked it in for today. Turned up, I booked it in over the phone, so I called Shichon just customer service, which isn't particular to Aylesbury. So they booked me in, but then I got to Aylesbury and they were like, you're not booked in. They were like, they haven't told us that you booked in. So I dropped the car off this morning, and I was just like, well, surely it's booked in. I've been waiting for this appointment for 2 weeks. Surely it's booked in. How long do I have to wait now? So then they managed to get it in today, which was the same day as my hair appointment, which was an hour away. Obviously, I didn't plan for my van to be unavailable when I booked the hair appointment, so I couldn't cancel the hair appointment, so I had to get taxis either way, which was extortionate. Then luckily it was a very cheap fix in the grand scheme of things. It could have been up to about £2 grand, but luckily it was only about 450, which I'm taking as a win. And they forgot to charge me for the diagnostics, which is basically to work out what's wrong with your vehicle. They charge you to work that out, and they forgot to charge me for that, so they just charged me for the work, and the diagnostics was 150 quid. So I'm 150 quid better off, and I put aside enough money to cover the big issue if it was going to be that, but it's not. So now I've got some spare dollar, which is nice because I'm going on holiday next month and I would like to spend it. So yeah, so they fixed it. The light is no longer on. I no longer have an impending doom countdown, because if anyone has ever driven a vehicle and then imagine that vehicle has a countdown of when it's no longer going to turn on when you've just bought it, I was like, well, how do I drive this anyway? How do I deliver cakes? How do I like do anything? Because at some point it's just not going to turn on. So thankfully it's all fixed. Thank God for that. So hopefully my van news is going to be all positive from now on. So I can finally get it wrapped, like with my logos and stuff. Obviously I didn't want to do that because I didn't know if I was going to have to spend like upwards of £1,000 on it to get this fixed. So I was like, I don't want to go and spend £200 to £400 getting logos and stuff, and that money could be spent better. So with the money that I saved, I'm going to book it in to get all the logos, which I'm very excited about. I feel like now I can get excited again. You know, I said this in one of my other lives, I think. I couldn't get excited about the van. Obviously I loved this one more than the other one because it had less issues, but it still had issues. So yeah, I couldn't necessarily get excited about it because I couldn't do like van sign writing or anything because I was like, well, I need to wait until I've got the money. So yeah, that's your little rundown. That was how my day went. It's been an eventful one. So yeah, it's hopefully fixed now. I'm not going to have any issues. That is what we would like, but I'm not going to jinx it. We shall see, basically. But yeah, what did they say was wrong with it? It was the injector. So basically, when you have AdBlue, again, I'm sorry if I'm like teaching you how to suck eggs if you know what this is already, but I didn't. So the AdBlue goes into your diesel to make it efficient. So it's coming from another tank, and the injector is basically like the thing that squirts it into your exhaust, and if that's blocked, then it kind of goes back the other way because it can't come out of the injector, so it just goes back and then starts clogging up that part of the pipe. So it was just like crystallised on all the pipes where it can't go out of the pipe that it's meant to go out of because that's blocked. So it just goes backwards. So they were like, that's blocked, you need a new one of those. And in terms of like what you're paying for by going to a dealer, like a brand, they ordered the part at 1 o'clock today, and then by 4 o'clock they called me to say the work was done. Initially they were like, it's same day delivery, but it can come any time up to 5 o'clock, so if it comes by that point then it'll be too late in the day, we won't do it. So I was like, okay, it's probably going to be Monday. And then they called me at 4 o'clock and they're like, Bosh, it's done, you can take it home. I was like, oh my god, you're amazing. Especially considering I wasn't even booked in there today. They had a million other people in the line before me, and they managed to find a spare like 5 minutes to sort it out. And then they also gave me loads of tips because they told me to go back to the dealer and do all this stuff because they said that they should be paying for it. So yeah, it has been an eventful van day, but hopefully no more issues, and then we can get it all signed, written and all that jazz. I also need to put the racking in. I also found so I put on my story that I lost my memory card, and I was clearly very tired last week when I went to edit the video because I decided to put it in my purse. Don't know why I did that. I keep putting like weird things in the fridge as well. I keep finding stuff in the fridge, so I think I'm just very tired. But I found the memory card in my purse when I went to pay at Shichon, so I can edit those vlogs, and I can also find the van footage because I started to do some of the van reno, and then I lost my memory card. But yeah, we're going to carry on with that. I've built the racking. I just need to decide whether I'm going to paint it, and what else? Drill it together because it's kind of just slotted together at the moment, and then put it in the van. and start like filling it up, I need to put stuff in it. But the non-slip mat that I put down is amazing. It was like £20 off eBay, and it definitely doesn't move, like nothing moves that I put on it, so love that. Good they sorted it so quickly. Yeah, to be fair, I think they saw my face when I took the van in this morning, and they said it wasn't booked in, and I just had a mini heart attack in front of them. So I think they were like, right, we need to help this person out, because, yeah, it's fine. I think they were like, we need to help this person out because she's been done over. So they were like, yeah, we'll get it sorted today, even though they didn't have to do it so quickly. Oh, she's lovely and smooth. And we're gonna put the blue smudges around. I'm gonna leave that as a raw edge. And then we're gonna put a bit of piping on there. I need to do a name thing to go on the front, but it's my niece is around and it's in the room that they're staying in, so I'm going to do that in the morning, but we're going to do everything else, and then I just have to make the card thing and like stick it on there, so that should be fine. Right, we're going to shove this in the fridge, and then we're going to sort out all the chocolate that's going on it whilst it's setting. So many baked goods in the fridge. It smells lovely, so it's all ready for the cake shed. I'm going to move you there. Is that in the way? And then this has, I slightly undercharged for this cake because I didn't realise that the woman chose some of the most expensive chocolates out there. It's my fault for not checking, but the price of chocolate has just gone crazy, and I haven't done one of these like chocolate loaded cakes for a little while. Like, I've done ones that have like chocolate buttons and chocolate fingers, but they're like pretty cheap. Whereas there's certain chocolates where if you're buying the brand and like you can only buy the brand, then it's kind of like tough, isn't it? So she wanted Galaxy, so obviously you have to buy the brand of that, but Galaxy is fine. So I always buy the like singular bars when I'm doing it for like a loaded cake, because you don't need 4 bars of Galaxy because you're doing so many different chocolates. I just get the singular bars because otherwise there's so much wastage. Then we've got a Bueno, again singular bar. This they don't do singular bars, so we've got a huge one of that. But what I'm thinking is if I have leftovers, I can use it in the shed. Like, I'll just make a flavour of something to do with these. So yeah, Marvellous Creations. And then Toblerone. I quoted a cake for next week, and can we just talk about Lint? Oh my gosh. So Lint is £7.50. Shocking. I've made them pay the whole £7.50. It's a cake for my sister's work, so like she's obviously approving the spending. So she just said, yeah, it's fine. But I said I'm going to obviously have to buy a whole box, and I'm probably not going to necessarily use them. And yeah, £7.50. So I'm going to have to start pre-looking at stuff. This Toblerone was £5. Again, I don't need a whole Toblerone, but I'm going to have to buy one for the cake. So I needed to look that up. I thought that Toblerone was a lot cheaper than it was, but then obviously when I priced it up, I priced up like £8 worth of chocolate, which is usually what I do. But I think her chocolate was like, well, this was 5, this was 3, so that's already the £8. And then the other bits were probably about £4. So it's peanuts, you know, but like obviously when you're pricing your bakes based on like profit and everything, losing like £5 does take a dent out of the profit. So yeah, I need to make sure that I don't do that again. Normally I check, but I think it's just, she said the chocolates that she wants, I usually always do 4 different types of chocolate on these cakes so that there's a range. But like I say, because you can't buy a small Toblerone, you have to buy the whole thing, even though I'm probably only going to use maybe like 5 squares from it. So yeah, that's your little rundown on the chocolate situation. But yeah, I need to, in future, check in advance. We're going to unwrap those and like cut them up. We also need to colour different buttercreams. I need a mixture of bowls so that I can do it. I'm sure, yes. Gosh, got worried for a second. I do have navy, that's good. Right, bowls. I've not eaten enough. I am ravenous today. So hungry. Not that you asked, but you know. Anyway, right. We need. I'm going to do. I think a scoop of each. A scoop. My brain's not working. Yeah, a scoop of each tone is what I'm trying to say. And then we need to keep some white. Keep some white for the top. I'm going to go with that for now. And then I can always mix some more up, but I don't like to mix too much, just in case. I think it's 2 shades of blue that I normally do. One lighter, one darker, and then a bit of white. That's what we're going to do. So, yeah, slightly more. Right, so we've got Colour Mill Navy for the dark one, and then we have Colour Splash Peacock for the lighter tone. So I bet you the peacock one's going to actually be darker. It's always the way. So what I'm going to do, which I always do, I'm going to take a bit of this blue and put it into the navy. I'm going to take a bit of the, not navy, but it will be, and put it into here, so it just mixes the tones. Because this is a very baby blue, which we do not want. And more navy. And then we're going to do this again. Right, that one can stay as it is because it's a nice blue. And then this one needs a bit more of the peacock and more of the navy. will darken, so I might pop them in the fridge for a minute. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the lighter tone first, then I'll add the darker tone that's in the fridge, and then we'll add the white. My son's birthday today, made him a Mario Kart themed cake, he loved it. I love themed cakes. It makes it a lot more fun than just like a chocolate cake, unless it's like a really elegant cake, because then that makes me happy because it just looks aesthetically pleasing, but just like your standard cakes can sometimes be a bit boring, so I do quite like when someone gives you a theme because it just spices things up a bit, you know? So, we're just gonna smudge it on there. The dark bits is what's going to separate it, and then the white bits that I go in and do afterwards are kind of like the final bit. So this one doesn't really matter because it's kind of like a base, and then the darker tone is what's going to like pull it together in terms of the blues, and then the white is just, yeah, like I say, just to finish it off. And I want it in bits, just to clarify, so that it sort of, it looks smudged. Does that make sense? I don't want it to be completely smooth the whole way around, that's why I'm not doing a continuous scrape, because I want it to look like lots of smudges, kind of like with a palette knife, but I don't want to do it with a palette knife because that's difficult. So like so. And then what we do is with the leftover like blue and white, I'll use that to do the board, so it won't go to waste. We're going to pop him back in the fridge. I'm going to add a teeny bit more. I honestly hate making navies, but it's got to be done. Right, that's a lot darker now, and it will darken in the fridge as well. That's why I'm tempted, that's why I'm always tempted not to do any more colouring, because I always come back in the morning and I'm like, oh, she's darkened a lot. So that is the current situ. I know that that's going to be darker, so we're going to leave it there with the colouring. Then we've got our white there. We will need a piping bag. Not quite yet, but we will need a piping bag, and I'll probably go for this nozzle, which is I don't know how to explain what I mean, but it's that like star nozzle, and it is 1E, and it's the Finch Bakery one. So we're going to use that for the little bit of piping on the top. off, dipping it in the blue. So on the top of the cake, we just want white, but then around the base, it can be multi. That's that. We need to prep the chocky. I literally don't eat Toblerones, so I don't even know how to open them. I don't know how you can resist the chocolate when you're so hungry, honestly. I think I just go past the point of hunger. Like I am so hungry because I have definitely undereaten today, but at the same time, I'm also just so tired that eating also feels like a bit of a chore at the moment. Because it's like, I know that I have other things I need to do, like this cake, so I'll probably have a little snack before I go to bed, so that I'm not going to bed hungry, because I don't want to do that, because then I won't sleep very well. Bish bash bosh. Oh, that was way too much. Oh, I can start seeing it come together. You have to just trust the process, you know. And then we need to get some white in there, because that will really tie it together. Where's the front? cute. Right, don't need this anymore. There we go. Right, we're going to pop the chocolates on because as soon as I put this back in the fridge, that bit is going to set. And then this bit can set while that bit's setting. And then we'll take it out and add more white down here and add a bit more blue as well. But mostly the darker blue, to be honest. Right. Struggling with this Toblerone. Need 2 gloves, don't I? I also need some of this chocolate for around the board, so I need to keep that in mind. I don't want that to fall. She's breaking on me. Okay, I think that's enough chocolate. And then we'll do the same with the outside. I'm going to wash these gloves because they're all chocolatey. Right, I'm going to give them a quick blast in the old fridge. Oh gosh, I'm tired. Right, I need some gold leaf. Not essential, but I'm choosing to add it. I don't think it was in the original thing, but it was in the original cake, but I don't know if I quoted for it, but I buy it in bulk, so it's not fair. There we go. And then I need the gold sprinkles from Bake Box Boutique. I've done something similar but with a palette knife, looking good. Thank you. Yeah, I could use a palette knife. I just find a scraper easier. I think I quite like when it's got the smudges from the palette knife. Don't know if that makes sense. Like, you'll see it when I get it back out, but like when you go round and there's sort of like lines higher up, which is where you've kind of caught the buttercream, I think it looks kind of good to have those messy bits. Whereas if I did it with a palette knife, I'd be more precise. So I kind of like the messy look, is what I'm trying to say. Lovely cup of tea, Jules. Right. We only need a tiny bit of blue, and then the rest we're just going to mix together, like smush together, not actually stir it, and put it in a piping bag, and then that's what I'll use on the board. I'm going to need a bigger bag on. Where are my piping bags? This is the little 21 that's going on it. What's a bit weird though, I ordered these from Ink Etch on Etsy, honestly, I should have an affiliate code because I buy at least one of these a month. She's actually, or she or he, who, like, I don't know, but I always assume. They've actually given me their website in the most recent order, probably because I've ordered so much, and then a 10% off. And I'm assuming it's probably cheaper on their website because things are always more expensive on Etsy because Etsy charges, whereas people's websites are usually less. So I'll be intrigued to see if it's any like change in price. But yeah, so that's the little 21. But did I say that it came in a different font? Yeah. So I ordered one literally a month ago, and it was in a different font to this. But I wonder, the other one snapped. I think it was Cleo's fault because she bites the post when it comes through the door. So I had to reorder one of the numbers. But this one is thicker. Like the actual font is thicker than the old font. So I don't know if maybe that's why, not because Cleo did it, but if they maybe noticed themselves that it was a, I don't know, less sturdy font, or they just like the font better. But either way, the font has changed, which I noticed. I want this nozzle out of here. We're not going to clean that because it's all the same flavour, and it's also going to be a mixture of colours, so it's not going to affect it. But rather than add washing up to my already washing up pile over there, there we go. I'm not going to nick all the blue, obviously, because we need to add a bit more on, but I'm going to nick some of it, because I can get away with nicking a bit, and then we'll just add whatever's left to the top of the bag. White in there. Okay, let's have a little bit in here. Got a multitude of things on this work surface. It's actually quite busy with stuff. Need to have a little clean. Right, that's the white. I think I can get away with not very much blue because you really don't use a lot when you do these like palette knife designs. Okay, right. A little bit more white. Right, so we're going to leave that sort of laid down so I can add to it once I've done the final colours. There's so much stuff everywhere. Maybe they had a few snap damage in transit. Yeah, maybe. I just thought that it was probably Cleo because she always goes for post. So it could have been where she bit into it and then it snapped. But also it is sent in like a hard envelope. So who knows? Right. We need a few lighter tones of blue. And we're also going to pop the white in. Can you tell I'm tired? Right. Good thing I have about 50 million palette knives. Right. I need to wipe you because there we go. Oh, that bit of chocolate is hitting the scraper. Right, and then a few darker bits, just to layer it up. And then I think now I'm just going to go in with the palette knife just to layer on top but without smoothing anything too much. Right, I think I'm going to stop there because you know what we always say, I keep going when I probably shouldn't. So I'm going to add the leftovers into that piping bag. And then we're literally just going to squiggle all over the board so that the chocolates will sit on it. I dropped a bowl earlier on the floor and I've dropped a scraper. I feel very clumsy this evening. Beautiful colour, thank you. It's slightly less navy than when I've done it before, but usually by the morning it will be navy. Get the air out. Okay. Tips for piping. Do you mean the actual tip, as in like, not tips as in how to do it, tips as in what tip am I using, I think. It's the 1E, I think I said. I said it a little while ago, but it's in there so I can't see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the 1E and it's the Finch Bakery one, if that's what you're asking. Right, let's just load the chocolate out now because we've done the top bit. So, which was the front? Another bit over in. Advice. I kind of just wing it every time, which it can be dangerous because I usually say yes to things that I've never tried before. But pretty much just practice. Like, it sounds really not very helpful, but I think a lot of it is making sure you've got the right consistency of buttercream, because if that's off, then it will ruin your whole cake. So yeah, what was that? Sorry, I'm really tired. Making sure your buttercream consistency is like stiff enough to be piped, but also soft enough that like it actually comes out, because you don't want it to be like really difficult. And then practicing different techniques before you do them, unlike me, where sometimes I'll just say yes to something and then I test it out and think, God, why did I say yes to this? Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. To be honest, I just wing it when it comes to piping. That's it. What was anything? Some Galaxy in there. I like the little shards of this Galaxy. Just gives a different texture, which is quite nice. I need some of this Marvellous Creations, even though it's not equal segments, which is quite annoying. So it's like funny shapes. Where's the gap? Where's the gap? Where's the front again? Okay. The front is there. Okie dokie. The name is gonna like go somewhere here. I haven't quite incorporated that into my design. So if I push this one down a little bit, then I can have it across there once I've made it. And then the 21. Okay. Right. Now I just need the gold leaf. That's fine. 10:15. There's me thinking this would be done by 9:30. That was very optimistic. Oh, that's weird. This gold leaf is really weird. It's new. Not sure I like that. Maybe use tweezers. Normally I just press it onto the cake, but this stuff is a bit weird. Favourite decorating technique? I'm going to say stencils. Absolutely love them. And I also think they're really underrated, like not ordered enough. I have so many stencils and I don't really get a chance to use them. Like for wedding cakes, yes. But I have some that I've never used. Or at least not on a customer order. I've got little rainbow stencils, like so many cute ones that people just don't go for them, which is a bit sad. What about everyone else? Put it in the chat. Get away. That's fun. Okay, so we've got a bit of gold leaf. The gold leaf is very fiddly to use, which I don't really like, so there isn't actually much of it going on the cake. Right, I'm giving up on that gold leaf. I need to get some new ones because that one is not right. Don't know what it is, but it just doesn't go on the cake very easy. We're going to do gold spray because why the hell not? She said that she wasn't bothered about the design, so she said just make it look nice. And then I sent her this design and she was like, yeah, that's perfect. So just going to add a little bit extra, you know. I love lustre so much. Right. That is the finished cake. It's going to have a name at the bottom, but like I said, the cricket is in with my nieces and I forgot to do it earlier. But I can do that in the morning, so it won't take very long. I love doing stripes, but very time consuming, yes, and they can sometimes be extremely stressful. Like, sometimes they go perfect, sometimes they'll smudge into each other, and I'm just like, why? They're also not the sort of thing that you want to do in summer, because it needs to be cold enough to do so. I really like marbling, but again, it's a really long process. You literally like do the marbling on a baking sheet for people that haven't done it. Then you wrap it around the cake, take it off, and then you just have to scrape it like for hours until the marbling looks really nice. But again, it's not something I do very often. Is the cake shed quite profitable? It is indeed. It is like doing a market every weekend in terms of, like, say you make, I don't know, 150 items. You obviously sell those 150 items, but you don't have to be in for collections. People can come and go as they please. Everyone has paid so far. Yeah, everyone loves it, and it's not something that's done near me. Like, I think there's two nearby, like within like 30 to 40 minutes. One in one in Bicester and one in Buckingham, so both are like a good half an hour from me. So all the people from Aylesbury, some of them go to those sheds, and like they say, it's obviously quite far for them if they're from Aylesbury, so it's good that I'm here. But apart from us three doing those sheds, all of the nearest ones are like either up north or like down south by the beach. So yeah, it's not something that is very common around me, which is good for me, obviously. And a lot of people haven't heard of it as well, so they love it even more. I've had quite a few people who are like, how did you come up with this idea? I'm like, check TikTok, it's like really popular. But some people just haven't seen it, so yeah. Anyway, I'm going to put this cake in the fridge, and then I can tidy up. And if you have any more questions, let me know before I sign off. I really don't want to do that washing up, but I think I probably should do it tonight. There's so much stuff in the fridge. Right. Washing up. Right, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm so tired. I apologise in advance. I'm really struggling. But I hope you enjoyed that either way. I thought it would save me editing a video, which I obviously don't have time to do until probably tomorrow. So I'm going to try and edit the ones that were on that memory stick that I lost and then found. So in the next few days there should be a vlog or a video going up, one of the two, vlog or a normal video, if that makes sense, either the cake shed or something else. I'll move this over here. I'm just going to show you my cake jars because I've got them here. So, how cute are these? So I got new jars. They didn't sell my jars anymore because I got them so long ago and they've gone already. I was trying to use them up because I hadn't used them, and then I ran out like pretty much the first week that I did the cake shed. So then I had to buy more, even though the whole point was that I was trying to use them up. It's quite ironic, but that is the lemon one. That's chocolate fudge. What is this? It's Biscoff, but it's vanilla sponge. But I didn't have time to make any Biscoff sponge, so we just went with vanilla. And then that's Victoria sponge, obviously. So yeah, I'm going to pop those in the fridge. But yeah, I'll love you and leave you. Hope you have a rested night. I hope so too. I'm up at 6 to package everything for the cake shed because it opens at 9, but it's all baked and all decorated. So it's literally just labelling and packaging, which usually I allow an hour for packaging and then an hour for like labelling and putting stuff together. So yeah, then that gives me a bit of time to have a coffee and mentally prepare for the day, you know, in between, before the 9 o'clock rush hits. So yeah, I'm going to head to bed now, get a good 7 hours, and then I'll be ready to go again. So yeah, gonna love you and leave you guys. Thanking you for watching. Bye!